AA, see you in church. The thing I decided to talk about today is I find it really peculiar that some things are okay with family as long as it's a certain member of the family that does it. It doesn't make sense to me, but it's just weird that it works that way. Like, for instance, I have a friend and she was married. She's beautiful, beyond sweet, caring. She marries a guy and she helps him. She becomes a like a pillar of the community. She works really hard, and I don't get it. She moves up. She becomes one of the ladies and whatever. It's not my church, so I really don't know what they call them. And she looks beautiful and everything. And one time somebody asked me, well, why didn't you invite her to your church? I said, I did. She went to church with me and my mom. And at first I told her, um, you're welcome to come, but we're different. We're not like all the other churches. We have a lot of different attitudes and things we do. And she goes, what do you mean? You guys are going to kill a chicken? And I said, no, that's witchcraft. I said, we don't do that. But I said, okay, come. And I first asked my mom, though, because she would be going with us. And we went. Um, we did what we normally do. And after we did all that, we went and sat down. Well, actually, we kneeled. Then we sat down, put up the kneeling thing. People filled up the pews, and then church mass started. Music, priest walked in, and oh, she found it beautiful and everything. But she says, um, my legs hurt. And I'm like, well, it's church. Anyway, and she goes, and the people behind us, I said, that happens everywhere. I said, I've been to um, 8 or 10 different churches, and um, the conversation goes on behind you all the time. I don't understand that. I go to church because I want to be closer to God. I want to pray. I find the Mass beautiful and everything. But some people go to church to talk. And that's why I got that. AA, see you in church, because people do that. They have a juicy dish, and the old ladies go sit in that back corner, and they have a table, and they get a snack, and they all go and sit down and they start talking. My mom always sat at the other end. We'd have our snack and whatever, and we rest, and then we walked home. We were close. That day, my friend was there, so we rode home. We took my mom home, and then we went. But anyway, um, I guess you're asking, why would your friend want to come to church with you? What was going on with her was she got married, and somewhat during the middle of her marriage, she finds out at the end when her husband decides he wants a divorce that the whole family knew he was having an affair with her sister. And she, I guess, acted like me because I'm not the kind of person that's, I'll forgive you, but I'm not going to have you in my life. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to give you the chance to hurt me again. Okay? A lot of people say, well, you're not forgiving. I said, well, that's your problem. You want to think that way, you think that way. I forgave the person and I handed him up to the Lord. And whatever the Lord decides to do, that's up to them. But my brothers, when I was younger, I had told them, if you guys, because we had seen a stupid movie in those thing where the guy goes and he goes to war, he comes back and finds his brother has moved in and take over his, or best friend or whatever has moved in and taken over and everything, and now you don't have a place in that, in your relationship. The child is yours, the marriage is yours, everything's yours, and here, this piece of garbage, just because it's family, you're gonna, oh, that's okay. Oh, I said, hell no. I said, first, you're gonna get a bullet in your head, and I told that to my brothers. Then she's gonna get a bullet in her head. And I said it that way too. And they said, well, why do she get it second? I said, for one thing, your family, and you stabbed me in the back like that. What kind of piece of garbage are you if you did that? And all that. And I said, and second, I could catch her and everything. And then when I tried to be straight, prayers, everything, and hopefully I was going to be straight. And no, it didn't happen. I didn't date weak women. I don't find them attractive. I see them all the time, and you're being trained to be a weak woman. That's the thing that I think is so horrible, that parents actually do that. They'll bring their son up strong and their daughter's weak. But anyway, not the ones I got to know. I didn't grow up as a rich person, so the poor people more or less bring up their children trying to be strong, whether they're women or men, but they still have the certain, you have to be in your place and all that kind of stuff, which I don't have anything to say with that because they're not my children. I'm not gonna who am I to tell them how to live their life? But anyway, those people go and they do that anyway. In her life, her whole family did that. They knew, but because it was the beloved sister, it was okay. It'll still be in the family and everything. And they didn't know how much she was doing. So she did what I would have done. She walked away from the complete family. You're dead to me. Um, she took all his money and divorced him. There was a prenup, and the prenup said whether he or she cheated, they forfeited all rights to anything. So he had his business. Um, she had the money. She had the home. She kicked him to the curb with all his clothes. She just sort of like walked away. She didn't fight for him. I wouldn't have either. She called me up and told me, and I was like, okay, well, let's go do something. And we took off and got Vita makeovers with other friends. And she was looking for a new church. And she did. We found her a new church she'd like. I said, why are we looking at my church? I said, it wasn't she goes, but those people knew. I said, of course they knew. They're they talk, they share everything, and none of them told you because none of them were really your friend. And I said, oh, okay, well, I get it. So we found her another church, and she established and whatever, and she had lots of money. So all she had to do was, how do you say it? Take care of herself and everything. She had already transferred all the money and everything, and he could not claim anything because of who he was and how he had done it. So um, she walked away from him completely. He tried to call her a couple of times, and she had blocked his number so he couldn't get hold of her. He tried to send her letters, he tried to do whatever, and I was going over to her house and I sort through the mail and threw his stuff in the garbage. And she did everything to make sure she had no connection. And then one day I was walking behind her because I dropped something. Her sister started walking up really fast. I turned around and I told her, we have two choices. You can either get pushed in front of that truck and die, or you can turn around and be the smart person and go away. And she went away. I told her, don't ever come back here again. You're dead to her and to me and to all of the inner circle. She goes, well, I wasn't part of the inner circle. I said, exactly. So don't come around. Don't come a knocking. You're not welcome to the inner circle. The inner circle is, we were a group of friends that helped each other and talked and everything. I left the inner circle later on because um, of who I was. I just didn't feel comfortable, and they were too accepting. I'm sorry, if someone stabs you in the back, I don't let them come back. I don't let them do that again to me, and they were letting that. Um, one of the girls, one of the girls was married, and her husband would. The guys would be over there. They would talk, and then he would at night tell her everything they said. Well, we're married, we can't. And I was like, oh hell no. And I found out was because I told um 8 different stories, okay, and I waited for which story would come back to me. And one did. So I knew who was the snitch, who was telling all the secrets and everything that he heard within the inner circle of the men. So then I was like, okay. And I went and I sat on my own table because there were 2 tables. We were sort of a big group. So I sat at another table. The guy was going to come over here, and you go sit over there at the other table. And he said, why? I said, because you're a snitch. I found out you're the snitch. You're the one that goes and tells everything that's going on, that's our conversations, to your wife. Well, I'm married. I have no. Don't give me that bullshit. I said, you're not man enough and you don't have the balls to take responsibility on your own life. You're letting her be the man in your relationship, which that's your business. But the point is that you're telling our private information. You were allowed into the inner circle to be a part of the men. And here you are running like a little bitch over to tell your wife everything you hear. Oh, hell no. Get away from me. Anyway, so the other group bleeds in, and we're sitting there, and they say, why is he sitting over there? And I said, because he is the snitch. And the guy who they snitched on says to me, what do you mean he's the snitch? I said, well, remember you told this story and you bought a beautiful car, a gift for your wife, and you got her a brand new car, and you told her what color it was, and I'm told us what color it was. You had it waiting for her birthday. So then when her birthday came in, she already knew. She was even wearing a dress to match the car. And he goes, yeah. I said, well, guess who snitched? Him. He goes, how do you know that? I said, well, remember spoke to each one of you separately. You probably didn't notice that, but I did. I told each one of you a secret, and I waited to see which secret got back to me. And the secret I told him got back to me. And that means that it was him who went and told my secret. He says, well, he could have told one of us. I said, yes, but he told. I said, get the hint. He told. It was something I only shared with him. I gave you each a separate story, and then he told. Oh. I said, yeah. So if you're willing to allow him to go tell every single thing you tell him, then you go sit with him in that table. I'm not. I'll be happy enough to sit here by myself. So they all just sort of looked at him, and a couple went over, and he says, but you don't have nothing to hide. One of the guys said that. I said, then go sit with him. I said, I'm not forcing you guys to sit over here. I'm just not willing to be open with you and then have him run and tell all those secrets. Whether they're secrets or not, that's my business. And it's not his place to share everything I tell you. If I tell you I'm going to buy so and so a special gift for her birthday, I want it to stay private and secret. That's why nobody else told that secret you were giving to there. And his wife has such a big mouth, she told your wife. And he goes, oh, you're right. And I said, but if you don't mind, you can go sit with those other guys who don't care either. And you guys can all be inner friends. I'm not telling you not to be friends with him. I'm telling you I'm not wasting my time on him, because the point is that the first chance he gets, he's going to be talking to her ear. And I'm not willing to be part of that. Anyway, that was the inner circle. She is part of the inner circle, and he was no longer part of the inner circle, her husband. And she had moved up really high in her church, but we got her a new church, and in no time she moved up high in that one too. What that means is like she was putting together, what do you call those, cake sales and all that kind of stuff to raise money. She was a real fixture, but she left that church to get away from her sister and all those lying bitches. Anyway, so she was happy at her new church, and she was doing what she wanted to do and everything. And finally, her brother came over and asked me a question. And I said, well, what's your question? She says, well, what was what's his name's business is going down, and they don't get it. They don't have the kind of money they had with her and everything. He was saying, I said, well, he's not with her. That's why. And he didn't get it, and they didn't get it. I don't know if you get it, but the difference was, and I see movies um, why did you marry me? That one. He didn't get that she was doing the books and everything. She actually did work with her husband, and she did do the books. She counted everything. She made sure that everything she ordered and all that kind of stuff. And she put it away. Her sister is a lazy louabout. She isn't about to do anything but sit on her ass. And I don't care. That's not, I wasn't looking for a wife or anything, and she was a pretty girl, but a real cunt. But that's beside the point. So then she goes over and, she did what she did. Now, she took all the money, and now she had no responsibility to the business. It was like selling her part of the business because she worked hard in that business. It was her husband's. And she took the money because in the divorce, that's what she got because he cheated and they had the paperwork. So the judge just went, okay, there you go. And she got her home, her car, her, you know, property. Only thing he had was his clubs, his clothes, and that was it. Everything else was her. So he packed up his car and there he went, moved in with, I don't know. That wasn't part of my business. I wasn't his friend. So he thought he was too good for us, which I didn't care. I didn't want him there. He was a real jerk. But anyway, the business went down. He was losing lots of money, and they were, from what I understood later on, that he was close to bankruptcy. And he couldn't understand why. And it was because she wasn't part of the business. She wasn't making sure everything was filled and everything. She was doing the books. She was doing everything. She did a lot of work. They didn't have to pay for those people. She did it. And she ordered and everything. She was the main brain of the business. All he had to do was what he was trained for. That was it. So she walked away, but she took the money. I keep making that very clear because um, he had his money. She found that out. That was how she found the whole storyline. What was going on? She found out he had been putting money aside in another account, and she found the books and everything on the other account. So she took him off the main account because she was doing all the books and everything. So he lost his rights to be doing all that money. So the money he had there on the side, she knew how much it was exactly. And when they went to court, she put that information in front of the guy, and he says, "Oh, okay. Well, he has all the rights to the business. He has that money, so he won't be broke, and he has, So he says, "Okay, you're divorced." And so he wasn't, penniless. But she was no longer doing the books and the works and everything. So now he had to um, depend on his own stuff. And what was going on was they were trying to get her to give him some money and her sister, so that they would not foreclose on his business. And that's what I got from her brother. And I told him, they both can go to hell. You're all dead to her. Didn't you get why she left the church? He goes, no. I said, yeah. See, she made the connections. That's why all those people came to their place of business. She did the books, so they didn't have to pay for an accountant. She did everything. She had all that training, and she did more. And then all of you, stab her in the back. Why would she want to help you out? You're not family to her. What kind of family would do that to your own sister? Well, she's my sister too. I said, she's a backstabbing whore. And you rather side with a scuzz bucket like that? Well, whatever. She must really have a secret on you, like the time you cheated on your wife with, and I gave him the whole thing. And then he went, how do you know that? I said, your great sister you sided with told everybody in it. She knows. Why it didn't get to your wife? I think it did. She just didn't care. And I told him that. I said, but she ain't going to help any of you out. You're dead to her. You did what you did. We both walked to a cemetery and pretended that was all of your, like you were in a car crash or airplane crash or whatever. And she said goodbye, and she handed you all off to God and said, I forgive them. Now they're yours. There. She walked away. And he was just all shocked. I wasn't. I would have been meaner. I would have gone and beaten the living daylights out of that family. And I would have still done the same thing. Got rid of them. Because that's not what I wouldn't want a family like that. I don't want friends like that either. Anybody that's willing to stab me in the back and go after who I'm with. I had a friend. She was one of the young ladies I dated, and her husband and her best friend cheated on her. She did pretty well out of that one because she got rid of it before she got her inheritance. And he didn't get nothing. Anyway, well, he did. He got the kids. They were piece of works of bleep. Anyway, that's a different story. But in the long run, she moved on with her life. She had a good life. She met a decent man um, who treats her like gold. But she learned her lesson. She didn't let anybody get close to her like they used to. The friends, same friends, none of those friends knew about it. Well, they sort of did. They weren't sure, and they weren't going to go and throw a stone like that. I threw a stone. I told her to look because it just didn't seem right, and it seemed fake. Oh, you're such a bastard. I wish my sister hadn't married you. That was just so fake and all that. So, but anyway, that's my wonder how people are like that. I never would think of going after my friends' relationships. Now, if they break up and they're not seeing each other at all, and whatever, then that's another story. You're not dating them. You don't have a chance anymore. Well, with me anyway. All the people that I date, you can go and date them. I don't care because they never have a chance with me again after we break up. For whatever reason, it's over. That party's over. It's never going to happen again. And but anyway, um, once you break up with somebody, it's over. I'm not worried about you anymore. You're not in the picture. And I've never really gone after anybody's boyfriend ex either anyway, but because I just don't have the taste that every other person has. But I don't get that where people put other people before their family. To me, that don't make no sense. I understand you love your sister, blah blah blah, but why would you go after your sister's husband? I remember her telling me, I'm just glad we never had kids. I was about to get pregnant and everything, and I felt really bad for her because she really did love the guy. He wasn't worth it. But anyway, what can I say? You love who you love, and good luck in life. That's about all I can say. And I'll be there for you if I can. But that's the way it is. It's just weird that people do that and it's okay with other people. I stopped being a friend of somebody because they were doing that kind of stuff. I didn't want that stuff in my life. I don't want her to or him to go and say, well, it was okay with Manuel. He knew. You know what I mean? Oh, hell no. It's not okay with me. So that's why I push those people out of my life. The moment I see what they're doing, I'm like, oh, hell no. Bye. But that's me. I'm not telling you how to live your life. That's one thing I don't want to do. Um, the way I see it is like if you come to me and were to ask me a question, I give you information. I don't tell you how to live your life. I just give you the information, then you take that information and you weigh it. And if it seems true, then you go and you do what you're going to do and handle it how you're going to handle it because it's your life. God gave you the right to choose. And that's the way I see it. But it doesn't, I mean, why would you want to be digging a hole to hell by doing stuff like that? It's just disgusting. But I don't know. What do you think? What do leave a message at the bottom. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, put the hand up, and let me know what you think. Because to me, it's unexcusable, but to some people, they can justify that. Oh, well, it's still in family. A lot of people say that kind of stuff, and to me, I'm like, disgusting, gross. And I've seen that. I've heard that even in movies. Well, we kept them in the family at least. Why would you want that kind of a person in the family? But anyway, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and leave a message and put the little hand up. I always do it at the beginning because I always forget. And remember, AA, see you in church.